Hello and welcome. Crypto Day, 7th of May 2018. My name is Derek. Time for a much longer video, although I don't know how long it's going to be yet. I'm going to start off with ABY, then Blitz, and I don't know where I'm going to go after that. The whole purpose of topics and starting to talk about this is volatility, the waiting game. So let's get started. Of course, everything you do within your own risk, own reward. I remember back in my school days, pattern analysis, you would have to distinguish what's different from then and before. And what's different is there has been constant microscopic volatility for this price action. And it's microscopic and compared to everything it's had in the past. Now, of course, this isn't the greatest of logarithmic charts, but with that being stated, 121 down to about 95. It's about 26 points. And that would work out to a little more than 20% of a declining move. And in stock market terms, that would be standard. They get those too, 20% down moves like this. Maybe a little volatile for the stock market, but only a little. For the forex markets, well, you don't get those moves in 5, 6, 7, 8 days. That just doesn't happen. In fact, some crosses may have never even traded that this millennium, meaning that much volatility. It's only a couple, I think. Maybe, but I might be wrong. I know there's one that's hardly had any whatsoever, but whether it's a little higher than that, I don't know. That's not what the point here is. So you look at the size of these moves that occur. So yeah, 23-ish or so percent down. So in here, we make a high of about 250, and then it pulls back to 142. Okay, so the difference there is about 40%. And of course, the size of the moves in here, it's the regular whatever red candle here on January the 21st. The high 238, the low 215, differential 23 points. That's basically a hair over 10%. And that's on one of the lower end candles. What's the lower end candle here? April the 2nd. High 84, low 81. That's a differential of 3 points. That's about 4%. So I can't tell when the volatility is just going to go haywire. Mathematically speaking, when great bullish signals occur, in this case, a break over a level of resistance that has came back to this band, if it can get above it, it resisted up to that point last night, pulling back to the 18 highs, but getting above it 126 has got the potential, but it could just be a little volatile small gain or fail breakout when it does such. I don't know. But I do realize when time comes in, it's probably going to happen. But the whole waiting game is what I think it comes down to. Those who can wait win. For if you thought back in here in early February the 1st, first day of February, or the 2nd, whatever, 143, it's just way too low. And even here at 160, because you realize this thing is going back over 300, if not even over 500, 600. You know, okay, that's okay, that's fine. When something like this happens and it keeps going down, if you're playing that strategy, that means some buy orders got filled. But how can you really sell if it doesn't get above the 18 average of highs? Yeah, I mean, you know what? Maybe there's definitely was an opportunity to sell in here and buy back within this 18, because there were several days in which it traded within such. But I already went over the point that that was a 23% move, which means you would have been lucky to get 15 or 16. And then when we look at this even further, the waiting game, as I mentioned. Those who waited months and months and months and months in here, you're like, oh, 173 is cheap back in August. Okay, you got a nice sale. You bought it back at 173 and then it went down. Oh, 130, buy some more. Oh, back down to 100. 75, buy more. Next thing you know, by waiting that long period of time, seeing your bankroll go lower and lower and lower, December occurs and it goes up here and you got a whole bunch of sell orders. Intra moves with on the way. You could have easily been selling around Christmas time, well over 220. And then as the start of January comes in, if you haven't been buying back at 160, and even if you bought back at 180, selling 220, you got the deal. You got another gain up in here, but this was the last of your gains. Obviously, if you knew to sell it all, well, congratulations, but there's going to come a time where these things are just going to go higher. Now, there's obviously going to be risks of going to nothing, delisting, and such. Let's next take a look at Blitz. It did get delisted a few days ago. And this is the daily term time frame. Can you guess the day it got delisted? Yeah, it was on April the 9th. No, it wasn't. It was on this big red down day, of course. Price action goes from 11,700-ish down to 3,200. When I looked at this, what I noticed, this is a lot different compared to all the other ones that have been getting delisted recently, like Capricorn. Capricorn's doing well right now, all things considered. As I went to tradingview.com and I noticed that only Bittrex is the only exchange that trades this. So what do you do with your coins? Some sort of Blitz hardware wallet other than just wait? Doesn't get traded. Where on places like Livecoin, Capricorn is being traded and is trading for substantially higher than what it was delisted at. But after the down move, you have one green candle up, but it retraces back. Yesterday's session, big down red day, and it's just consolidating its losses even further for today. When you look at this, again, it's going to be a poor logarithmic scaling. It's now back to where it traded throughout pretty much all of 15, 16, and early 17. And it had wild moves before. And if you played this early on, sorry for that glitch, but if you played this early on, at least if you had it to play the big rally of 2017, there is no way as a trader for you to have a situation, if you were lucky enough to be able to have a position in this before the rally or on an early break of the rally, have the superior gains come in, because even if you played on the break at about 14K, seeing it go to 156K should ensure one thing: guaranteed profits with Blitz for the rest of your life. Meaning, whatever you buy back the rest of the way will never be more than what it was within your net sales. Now, of course, trading that buy low, sell high meant maybe you ran out of tokens along the way up because it went up so high. And if you did, so be it. That's going to happen. And with the volatility, just let it place. Because if you sold out at like 35 handle, well, here you are able on July to get it back. And of course, later on, it was okay to get out of it completely. It got delisted. But, okay, so you buy mainly from the time it hit this 18 average of lows on June 8th to this bottom. There was definitely a selling opportunity on August the 31st. Buy back immediately, pretty much after, but see it go down more, which means more buying into October, November. More buying into early December. I wonder if it's going to rally now. Oh, it does. It does. So, back then, you already, if you did play it before, you should have been like at the point where you're guaranteed profits. Well, you bought on the way down with portions of what you were selling before. And then if this thing goes up to 47,000, to me, that means everything that you bought at like from like October 7th on, you can sell. Sure, what you bought back in here, it's 36, you never were able to sell because you were waiting for that to go up here. Okay, so be it. And then, of course, everything happened. Now, what I find very interesting is if we take a look at this against the US dollar. And all it did was fall right now from about 6.5 to a quarter. Yikes. That's a pretty significant move. Price action is well above where it used to be. Let's scroll back. Long term, if you just ignored these numbers on the right hand side, then that looks good and bad. I mean, it's breaking down. It's given back a significant amount, significant lower highs and lower lows now, barely breaking down below this area. Now are we talking about going back to where it came from, which of course in this case was under 8.4 cents to 3.2. I mean, those would be the bad points, but overall, something like this was able to get delisted. Meaning, if you just hodled this back at the days when it was a penny and a half, here you are finding it's getting delisted, finding you're selling it at 25 cents or whatever. Okay, that's a good 17, 18x gain, although you passed on selling it when it was $5. Or even, for that matter, any of these times beforehand. But just something to keep in mind. I thought this was very, very interesting. I have no idea why this got delisted. But when I look at this from a sane perspective, sanity, why does it make sense that there are going to be 1,500 cryptocurrencies and it's all going to work? Now, I do understand the whole, what I call the Chuck E. Cheese theory. I don't even know if Chuck E. Cheese has tokens. I know they used to back in the day, where if you bring them into the store, you could do things like play games or buy from the menu with the Chuck E. Cheese tokens, meaning they had a lot of value inside the outlet. Outside of the outlet, you could say they were worthless. But the brain would know it was always available to go there, so it was always an investment vehicle. Now, maybe a lot of these crypto coins are very similar for a company, for a particular web page. That these coins represent something sort of like the Steam coin, the Bitfinance coin. Something that has something for people to have use within. I realize there's a lot of them. But when you look at the general thing amongst cryptocurrencies, how are they made? And is it a problem that a lot of energy is being used to create such a tool? Like, for example, Bitcoin and the energy used to run that. Okay. Let's continue on with sanity. People are buying and selling this to high volatility, and it's not stopping right now. Okay. And if that's the case, using trading mechanisms, light bulb in your head, I can overperform this market and get myself some decent gains along the way. See, that's what it really comes down to. And I don't know if, of course, how the long term is going to work out. But let's bring the Bitcoin chart back up again. Because the way I see it is, the only mistake that I might have made, and I thought this last night a little bit, was back near the higher prices. Instead of buying almost 100 ounces of silver, I should have bought almost 1,000 ounces of silver. And I say that because of diversification. I was way too heavily crypto versus that of physical silver. So I'm glad I got the close to 100 I did at the time, plus what I bought a little before and after that as well. But I don't want to be in fiat currency by any means. So the only options that I have is I gotta have fiat currency to really live with, although it makes it a bit interestingly different when you can use Bitcoin in real money situations, which you can. I don't really want to be in the fiat currency business too much. Meaning, you can talk all you want about this being so risky. Oh, you buy this at 9,500? And we can just retrace and fill some of this gap, and maybe we'll even see $3,000. Maybe. But when I talk about the maybes, the fiat currency having a major death blow style hit that has significant changes to occur. Sort of like this would be a death blow style hit for Bitcoin to go down here. They're all in the maybe scenarios. So why do I want to hold more fiat currency than I even need to use in any reasonable amount of time? I like to have physical silver because it's a real commodity. Let's bring that chart up because I can technically do such. It's only down 4 cents for the day, basically doing nothing. But I realize that I can turn this into basically whatever cash is at the time, right now fiat currency, anytime I want to. It's a little bit of work. Of course, the desperate situation, the quick one, is going to your dealer and getting what they give you. Working towards just knowing which ones to go to, traveling where you have to go to, just talking to people you know through regular networking. But I've never been in a situation where I've needed to sell any. Like I stated, I made an underbuy. That was my mistake there. Hopefully it all works out and the cryptocurrencies work out for me. But I'm in a situation where, what do I do? If, say, for example, you were to only basically hold silver, that means when you get income coming in, you buy what you need, you buy some silver, and, well, you really have been accumulating the whole time. Now, with cryptocurrencies, if you've been only in that, it's very risky, but it's also very rewarding. For buying Bitcoin at 300, 500, 800, 1,000, and whatnot, and seeing it go to 17,000, 20,000, even today at 9,000 and change. That's rewarding. But I feel as if there's going to come a time where it's all going to work out anyway. Let's bring up Litecoin. Well, that's against Ethereum, so I just missed it once. There's going to be situations where this thing just goes stir crazy. You have an up move, and then you go sideways for a while. Up move, correct, going up, but just continuing going up. Sideways again in October last year. So now it's been correcting for a while. What happens when you break resistance? Oh, yeah, see, I could have bought easily a 10 times larger purchase. And then my crypto portfolio was still better than magnificent. But I realized that if this thing goes up to, say, even just $2,000, and I really do say just $2,000, that a $20,000 silver purchase is only 10 Litecoin. I'd want to sell more than that. So I do realize that getting multiple thousands of ounces as just a regular purchase could easily be coming in the near future. So with that, I wait. Yes, I wait. It's the waiting game. For I'll continue to trade up and down, and I'll just keep buying small amounts here and there. Oh, it's been 4 weeks since I've bought some. Let's buy some more. But only a little bit. Waiting, of course, for much larger purchases later down the line. Thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.